So we are told by our controllers that in 1906 there was a devastating fake quake in San Francisco. Now, of course, the imagery you look at is fake. It's images superimposed over probably sets that were designed to make it look like San Francisco. And notice that all the people are just walking around in their nice suits and nice Sunday garments, as if nothing happened. That's the funny thing about it. And they completely ignore the camera, but you can see the background is either like cardboard or studio or somehow superimposed with just people walking around on the street. So that's 1906. Now, once again, they try to repeat it in San Francisco in 1989. This is the broadcasters on the third game of the World Series recalling game number 2. They're in the midst of talking about Dave Parker sliding into second base, and they've not yet started the game, and there's going to be a bunch of flickering. You're going to hear him say, "Oh, it's an earthquake, it's an earthquake," and then that comes on. So that's in 1989, 83 years after the 1906, and it was like at 5 p.m. something, and the other one, 1906, was like at 5 a.m. So all of it is just a setup and a bunch of nonsense about earthquakes. So I promised that rather than do like I did in my old channels and go on and on and on about the spirit of lies and the lies, I'd like to try to get to the truth. And in order to do that, we have to go to the scriptures. Try to adjust my camera a little bit. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm not a professional and I don't do things extremely well. All right, now, so what is an earthquake? Well, if you follow the scientific nonsense, they will define it as a shaking, trembling of the earth due to volcanic or tectonic origin. Both are fake. Volcanic is fake, tectonics is fake. All right. So, what exactly does happen? Basically speaking, the earth is completely stable. The earth is completely stable, which means you don't really have to worry about anything. Now, these are the so-called stupid tectonic plates, and they're on mantle, and mantle's just like a floating bunch of molten rock, which that's fake too. Molten rock is fake. Lava is fake. The only lava you get is at the store when you buy soap. Okay, tectonic plates are fake. And that theory came out in about 1915 with the whole idea of the earth shifting. That there's these plates and the earth shifts. Okay, tectonic comes from Greek. It means builder or building. Now, who are the builders of society? The Masons. Are you getting the idea? Okay, now the earth is immovable. Okay? The earth is immovable. There's the scriptures for you. Psalm 104:5. 1 Chronicles chapters 16 verse 30. Psalm 33:9. Okay, the scriptures are right in front of you. All right? The earth is basically unshakable, except if God decides to shake the earth. Now that's the Hebrew word for shaking, earth shaking. And it's just a shaking. Okay? Ra'ash. Ra'ash. Okay? There's the Hebrew word right there. Ra'ash. Now I'm not sure I said it correctly, and I'm not a Hebrew scholar. So I'm trying to protect myself. So what is it when the earth quakes? I'm sorry my camera's lopsided. There's the Hebrew word. And we are told when he spoke to Elijah in the cave, there was a voice and a wind and an earth shaking. But God was not in the earth shaking. Now, we are told in the New Testament that there will be earth shakings as a sign of the coming of Christ. We are also told that the earth shook when Jesus died on the cross. And remember how there was an earth shaking and the graves were opened and some of the people came out of the grave that were dead. We are told in Acts 16 there was an earth shaking and the Philippian jailer was saved because he believed on the Lord Jesus Christ. All right? Now, we are told that in the end times, the end of the end times, by the way, we're in the end times. We've always been in the end times. But in the end of the end times, there's going to be earthquakes, the shaking of the earth, just before Jesus comes back to earth, and there's a new heaven and a new earth, new heavens and new earth. So what are earthquakes? Basically speaking, is when God is shaking the earth. God. Now all this started, this earthquake fake stuff started just shortly after the Johnstown flood fakery in 1889. I did a whole series of videos on that to show you on one of my channels. But that was a bunch of baloney. Now they do this to get aid to the city. They do this to get donations from the public. And this is Carole King singing, "I feel the earth move under my feet." It's all about when baby's around and your love is around. Now, the Bible promises that there will be some shaking, a whole lot of shaking going on. Again, I apologize for my camera being crooked. I just can't seem to get it straightened up here. But in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 26 to 27, and at that time his voice shook the earth. His voice shook the earth. And now he has given us a promise saying, "Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also heaven." And in this statement, once more signifies the removal of those things that can be shaken, things that are created, so that only those things that cannot be shaken will remain. And the writer of Hebrew tells us we have a kingdom that cannot be shaken. So the whole idea of the earth shaking, it only shakes when God is at work. Period. No volcanic eruptions. Volcanoes are fake. Tectonic plates are fake because they're on the mantle, and the mantle is just a bunch of molten rock. Right? Molten rock. So tectonic plates are fake. Volcanoes are fake. So the only way the earth shakes is if God speaks in such a way, or God is acting or ready to act. It has nothing to do with molten rock. It has nothing to do with tectonic plates. Now therefore, the fake shakers, that is our enslavers, the ones who know about all these things and want to just get everybody all razzed up and get everybody all shook up. That's their whole purpose, is to shake you up and keep you in a state of being shook up. They will create fakery. And you're looking at the fakery, the 1906 fakery. And it's just repeated over and over and over again. Now I think that's when they started to really promote this type of fakery, is 1906, because that follows on the footsteps of the so-called Johnstown flood, which is now the idea of like national disasters. And with national disasters comes national relief aid, plus a lot of aid coming in from innocent, good people that want to do something good with their funds. And they will send into these big relief funds, and they're all a scam. So all this footage is just created footage with fakery to convince the world about earthquakes. Now, I didn't say that earthquakes were not real. What I was trying to say is that the only type of earthquakes that exist are those that the Bible has talked about. The ones that existed in Bible days, and the ones that will exist in the end of the end times. You have some of the earthquaking or shaking in the book of Revelation. And we have that promise in the Matthew's Gospel that just before his coming, there will be the shaking of the earth. And then, of course, that passage I read to you from Hebrews, that he will shake all things. Again, this is how the dictionary tells you about an earthquake. It's a shaking or trembling of the earth that is either volcanic or tectonic. So let's use process of elimination. There are no volcanoes. They're phony. And there are no tectonic plates floating on molten rock, the mantle. And they're unstable. And they could shake at any time. No. The only time anything shakes is when the hoaxers create nonsense like I showed you in 1906 and 1989. Again, San Francisco, Game 3 of World Series between the Athletics and also the Giants. So they waited till California was involved in the World Series, and they waited till it was San Francisco, and they just tried to repeat the 1906 nonsense. The only time you're going to feel the earth move under your feet on that particular song by Carole King is when the only time you'll feel the earth move under your feet is just before Christ comes. Or if you're here when there's a lot of tribulation, you'll experience the words of that song by, what's his name, the guy on the piano in the 50s. There's a whole lot of shaking going on. Anyhow, I've been wanting to do something on earthquakes, and oh my, there's an earthquake right now. Oh. By the way, if you ever watched any of Dave's videos, Dave always showed you that Earthquakes always result in refrigerators opening and food going on the floor. Anyhow, God bless. Thank you for watching. Again, I apologize that all my slides are crooked, but I'm not crooked. I'm righteous in Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching. End of video.